Absolutely. Guys, I'm going to share my screen like this. I am aware that it is unconventional, maybe a little bit like IBTC is, but it just allows me to access this functionality. I love to draw and do interesting things to show you what we're talking about and where we are going. uh, Yes, I think it was quite challenging for some existing students. If you're new, you might not know about the challenges we had with, always data and data migration challenges. I'm sure it will come up in a case study. And we're always there to help our students, or actually any student. It doesn't always matter to us if it's our student or somebody else's student. And we like to get to the bottom of any issues students might be experiencing. Always happy to help. So CIMA didn't just introduce a new pathway last year. They've also introduced some new entry routes and new exemption and registration process. Some of you here today might be familiar with the old way of doing things. To others, it won't matter because you are brand new. Either way, I've and our students find it quite tricky to work out how to register, how to apply for exemptions, how to pick the correct entry route. But that is precisely what we will be looking at today. I've got my able assistant here. Felice is one of our much loved lecturers. So you can use the chat function. I'm just going to see if I can bring that up again for myself. You can use the chat function, and I know you're probably quite eager once we get started to say, this is my qualification and what exemption will I get? But I'm so worried that if you do that, you're not really listening and not really hearing all the other cool things we're saying. There will be a section where we talk about exemptions and starting points. And at that point, go crazy. You can post all the qualifications you have and we will see how we can help you. So today we are going to cover a little bit why you should study CIMA. It's also, I think, a handy way to determine if it's the right qualification for you. CIMA isn't right for everybody, and Pelisa will talk to that. We also look at the qualification framework, what you need to do to qualify. We discuss entry routes, exemptions, usually when the audience comes to life at exemptions, and how to register. At that point, you can tell us what qualifications you have. Then we look at ways you can study with IBTC, and we will end with some Q&A. So let's kick off with a poll to see who we have in the audience today so we can direct what we are saying to meet your needs. The poll should pop up for you. There we go. Where are you in your CIMA journey? So you can pick if you've just started, you haven't registered yet. I have registered. I'm still thinking, is this for me? Is this not for me? And those are some of your options. There, I've got. Okay, so I've just started my research and I have not registered yet. Okay, fantastic. We've got a few, about 10%. Oh, end poll, and then I will share it with you, share results. Okay. Great. I've just been informed that I apparently have the wrong presentation open. So if you will give me a second, let me just see if I can find the right one. Hang on. Maybe if somebody can email it to me, I'll just pick it up from my emails and I will open it from there. So, okay. So share the results. Share the results. Excellent. So you can see 75%. I've just started my research. I've not yet registered. Some are you've registered but waiting for exemptions, a few on ops and man level. I am guessing you might be here for FLP. Okay, so let's see. So this poll reminds me, police, of a poll we recently did with our student community. And we're always curious to know what is really important to students so that we can work out what are the things that we can give. If it's important, then those are the things that we want to provide our students. So the top things that students are looking for when they are looking for a college, this is what the results say. First and foremost, students want support. Okay, then it's accreditation. So with the recent de-accreditation of Damlin, which came as quite a shock, I don't know if you were following that, but I understand why accreditation is so important to our students in this academic environment. And in the third place is results, really the college pass rate. How is the college as a whole doing so that I can determine my own success? And the fourth most important thing to students is the quality of the material and the tuition. So, Belisa, does this resonate with you? Are you surprised to see what's important to our students?
No, Nikki, I'm actually not surprised at all. I think when a student chooses to sign up with a college, they do so specifically because they want someone to help them properly.
Mm.
Sometimes students feel that they can do it on their own and save some money. There are always a good number of students in my class who felt they could do it on their own, but after having failed their exams numerous times, then they decided to sign up for our classes with IBTC. Ultimately, they found that signing up with the college really helped them to cut down on
Mm.
their study time and help them to stay on track.
And obviously, accreditation is also a concern to students. Again, I think of Damlin. You don't want to sign up with a college that doesn't have the proper accreditation and you waste your money trying to get your qualification.
Yep. And we know that one thing students really care about is a pass.
Did you know that we're the only college who consistently publishes our pass rates, if it's good or it's bad news? We share our results openly because we understand it's so important to students. But admittedly, it took us about 8 years to get to the point where we have a consistent, remarkable pass rate. We had to work out exactly what do we need to do and what did the students need to do? What are the 5 things or the 8 things you need to do to pass? And now we're very proud of our pass rate. I always say we stand and fall by our ability to get our students to pass first time.
Nikki, I like that. Can you tell us what's behind the remarkable pass rate at IBTC?
You know, there's 2 things behind our pass rate. The one is actually the quality of our resources, and the other one is what I call our remarkable service or our hand holding. So when it comes to our resources, we are the only college that have partnered with a university in the UK. It's called BPP, and they're a global CIMA tuition provider, and they work hand in hand very closely with CIMA. They're like they braai with the CIMA examiners, I imagine, or have a pint with them. So they've got they've got deep pockets and exceptional quality study material and resources and videos, and we have the exclusive license to use their resources in our courses. We're the only ones in South Africa that's allowed to do that. And through our partnership, we're able then to buy in world-class resources for our students. And I always say, it's actually a student who said it first, and I liked it so much. The student said, when you're studying a global qualification, you should have access to global expertise. And I feel that is one of the things behind our good pass rate. And the other thing that makes us different and that drives our pass rate is our remarkable service. I call it hand holding. We are saying to our student support teams, you must hand hold a student. You must push their studies to the top of the priority. You know what must happen 10 days before the exam. So ask them, are you doing this? Are you doing that? You know how to tell them this is how you use that platform. So that care and the support we give students underpins our good pass rate. And I always say we don't sell a course to you and then you're on your own. We call you, we're very irritating. We call you and we check in and we monitor your progress. And we just want to make sure that you know what you must do and that you're doing the right stuff to prepare for your exam. And that's our hand holding.
Yeah, I like that, Nikki. I think I should share the next slide with you where we focus on some pass rates. Um, So here
Mm,
we know that CIMA really recommends that we use, the compliant material, but we actually decided to go against the grain and we're exclusively using the BPP material. And that's simply because we get better pass rates with BPP, right?
mm.
Yep. So here we can compare the global pass rates against the pass rates achieved by all students who use BPP resources. This includes IBTC students. Traditionally, when one looks at BA2 and P1, these are known as very tricky subjects. As
Mm,
you can see, our students perform 20% better on BA2 and P1 than the global average.
mm,
And you can also see why we consider ourselves to be case study experts. A
mm.
whopping 92% pass rate at strategic level, and on average, our case study performance is between 10 and 30% better than the global average.
The truth is that you are 60% more likely to pass with BBP and IBTC.
Oh, Nikki, didn't know that. Yeah.
So tell me, Felisa, you love CIMA, you've gone very far with it and still climbing. Is CIMA for everyone?
Nikki, often students are wondering if they should do their honors next or do CIMA
Mm,
or MBA. There's always a lot of choices to choose from. However, they want to be sure that CIMA is the right career choice for them. The truth is that CIMA isn't for everybody. CIMA combines business and finance almost like MBA and psych rolled into one. The
mm,
general rule I follow is that if you like tax and auditing and all the compliance related subjects, then CIMA is not for you. But if you enjoy business, performance, looking at costs, then it could be the right choice for you. We look
mm.
at a large number of financial accounting as an example as looking back, dealing with past transactions that occurred in the past, and management accounting on the other side, we're looking forward, dealing with budgets and focus and pricing, looking at future risk and strategy.
And another reason, of course, to study CIMA is that it's a professional qualification. You get an actual designation. What designation do you have behind your name, Lisa?
Yeah, I've got a very long surname,
Yeah.
Nikki. It's Macholo CGMA.
Okay, so with a professional qualification, you get a designation, you become something. You become a chartered management accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. Those are all designations or they're professional qualifications. And with an academic qualification, you are awarded a diploma or a degree. And I always feel in South Africa, we love academic qualifications, but there's a big move towards professional designations or professional qualifications. And I always feel that professional qualifications offer you more opportunities and better value for the money you've spent on your studying.
True. And also, CIMA is a well-respected and well-known qualification across the globe. You can work around the world or right here for a global company. It's a very portable qualification. And in actual fact, 95% of the world's top brands employ CGMAs. This means that you'll be immensely employable.
Are you working for a global company?
Yeah. Yep. So
Which
I work
one?
for
A new one in South Africa.
Yeah, and you're in South Africa, and it's called Amazon, and I think what has helped me from this qualification is really the synchronization of technical skills, business skills, leadership and people skills, and we work across cultures, across different regions, and it's really been a journey, and this qualification has made that very seamless for me. Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually speaking to my competency framework, and the competency framework is interesting because it is a visual representation of the competencies that you are taught in your CIMA qualification, if you like. So the important thing, and that's usually the case with professional qualifications, is that it doesn't just focus on technical skills. Okay? And nowadays, technical skills and digital skills go hand in hand. But as we've got some nice, I always say a bit of ethics. It all rests on a bit of ethics. Um, but it's got leadership skills, people skill, business skills, and it's all the things that you mentioned now that you uh, use or need in your job at a global firm.
Yep. And Nikki, to sum it up, really, why I like CIMA is that CIMA is where business meets finance. It's a
Mm,
finance qualification and it's a business qualification. It's like bringing together CA and MBA together, which means that you're competent in a lot of areas and you can play a multitude of roles.
mm. Mm.
So here we talk to those roles. So here's a good example of them. I think these are all the roles that you can play as a CGMA. You can see right at the top the suit roles, but also the non-financial roles, even management and strategic planning manager. And you can see the finance roles from an analyst to a finance controller. And then of course
Mm.
there's the consulting roles. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. You know, my previous boss was a CGMA and he started out as an accountant when we were still young. And then he became the financial manager of that department and then the CFO. And then he took operations under his wing when that role became vacant. And then when the lady in marketing, the head of marketing, that director fell pregnant, he said he will oversee marketing and then really enjoyed that part of the business. And then he decided to head up the new business side. I think it was mergers and acquisitions and expansion into Africa. And then when he returned as the CEO of the organization where he started as an accountant. And that's a full journey right to the top on the back of a CGMA designation.
Wow, Nikki, that's very impressive.
So
Yep.
you still got places to go. What's
Yeah.
after Amazon?
Yeah. And of
The
course for
world.
me, yeah. Yeah, if we
Mm,
look at the next slide, you'll see that this is for me, of course, the most important one, right? I think at the end of the day, it boils down to rands and cents or dollars and pounds. So of
yes.
course, to your point, Nikki, there's also the salary, of course. So CIMA's annual salary survey reveals that CGMA in South Africa earns on average 884,000 Rand per annum. And some students in my E2 class who were earning on average around 35,000 per month, and they aren't even qualified yet. If you look
Okay.
across the waters, for example, in the UK, you'll earn around £63,000 a year, which roughly equates to about 1.2 million. And this is according to a real CIMA survey recently conducted.
Okay, that's quite a bit. Did you know also that the same salary survey revealed that the average basic salary for a CIMA student in South Africa is 13% higher than the national average salary for a similar position?
Okay, that's a great reason to study CIMA.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, so we are going to look at the CIMA qualification a bit. Just want to admit Bangiwe there. Okay, so the entry route to the professional qualification is the certificate level. It's an open entry, so anybody can start there. And then the professional qualification consists of 3 levels, 1, 2, 3. So this is the professional component, and this is the entry, open entry, if you like. This is the professional qualification, and there are 3 levels and 3 pillars. Okay, the 3 levels is the operations level, the management level, and the strategic level. And the 3 pillars are called the enterprise pillar. So you see there's an E here, enterprise pillar, which means it's the business pillar. The P pillar is the performance pillar, and the F pillar is the finance pillar, which is classic accounting. This performance pillar, I'm going to see if I can change my color. This performance pillar over here is really the heart of the qualification. So in the enterprise pillar, you look at business models, management of people and project, and this is where the strategy is formulated for the business in this pillar. And in the performance pillar, you will use your management accounting and risk management skills. You can see it all culminates in risk management here, where you ensure that the strategy that was developed in the E pillar, that it's realistic. And here, this is where you monitor the implementation of that strategy. So in this pillar, you deal with things like costs, budget, pricing, capital expenditure, where you manage the cost and where you manage the performance. And this pillar ends all culminates into risk, because risk is such a big factor in business management today. And here we show you how to identify risk, and then we give you the tools to classify the risk. Then you can evaluate that risk and figure out a way how to propose that the risk is managed. So that's very exciting topic for me. Then the financial pillar is where you focus on financial accounting and the reporting obligations of the organization. It includes things like the regulatory framework, external reporting requirements, and we start dealing with rather complex financial statements, and you are taught the ability to construct and evaluate them, and to use them to show the financial position and the performance of the organization, which is ultimately what your role is to communicate that to finance and non-finance people. And it's also here where we deal with business tax, and you will be asked to advise on the tax implication of financing decisions. And in this pillar really is where you assess the risk that has been identified in the performance pillar. Okay, so here in this pillar, in F, you assess the risk, and how cool is that? And in P, you manage and implement and monitor the strategy that has been implemented. So, Belisa, I want to know if you can talk us through each of these subjects. Now, I do it because I think it's interesting for the audience. But then afterwards, right at the end, I'll give you a poll and I'll ask you, did you think Belisa did a good job? No, not really. I'm going to ask you, was it helpful when he went in? And he's going to do it very quickly. He's going to say, in BA1, we deal with this. In BA2, we deal with that. But is it helpful at all? So, Belisa, you go. You tell us what's inside these subjects. And afterwards, you guys will have an opportunity to tell me, oh, I lost the will to live. Please cut it out of your next presentation. Go, Belisa,
Yeah.
go.
Just to start at the bottom, Nikki, where most people would start is basically at BA1. At BA1, you'll actually deal with what we call macro and microeconomics, so dealing with econometrics, so to sum it up. Then you move on to BA2, where you actually start to enter into the world of costing, planning, and control. This is really the introduction to the management accounting field, so to speak. At BA3, then you start with recording of financial transactions. So again, preparing accounts and analyzing financial statements. Here it is assumed that you have very limited knowledge in terms of financial background. So you do the debits and the credits. And from a BA4 point of view, you deal with company administration, things like CSI and legal factors, like employment contracts, by far the most favorite part of the syllabus for me, the E pillar.
and
Uh,
and here we also have the ethics again, right?
yeah, yeah.
CIMA, bit of ethics, yes.
Once you pass all these subjects, you then get a certificate in business accounting, which is equivalent to an NQF level 5 in South African soccer standards. We then move on to the professional level. Here you've got E1, which covers topics such as big data, how to deal with shared services, and also traditional business functions like sales and marketing, human resources operations, and IT. Then you move on to P1. Here you really get into it, dealing with manufacturing, topics like marginal costing, absorption costing, budgets, pricing, topics like break-even analysis and probability distributions. Once you pass that or you move on to F1, you got cash flow, inventory days, dealing with payables, tax, and preparing financial statements for the company. Once you pass all of these subjects, you will then write your operational case study, which then allows you to basically get the CIMA diploma in management accounting once you pass your operational case study, which is equivalent to an NQF level 6. Moving right along in terms of managerial level, you've got E2, where you look at topics such as business model, project management, one of my favorites, and managing people, one of my worst topics, like dealing with health and safety.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Mm.
negotiation strategies. Yeah. P2, you deal with managing costs. So topics such as activity-based management, just in time, topics like key performance indicators, looking at performance from an organization point of view, topics like liquidity, profitability, return on investment, looking at risk and control. In F2, you'll deal with preparing group accounts and accounting standards, as well as integrated reporting, a bit of a nightmare for most people. And once you pass all of these subjects, you will write your management case study, which allows you to earn the CIMA diploma or CIMA advanced diploma in management accounting, which is equivalent to an NQF level 7. And then finally, you move up to the big boys and big girls. Yeah, your strategic level, you start thinking like a CFO. You got subjects such as E3, where you'll use models such as PESTEL, the SWOT analysis, looking at the purpose of the company, the vision, the value chain analysis, but all of these at a CFO, CEO level. And obviously in P3, which I think is Nikki's favorite, here you'll deal
Yes.
with a lot of risk, yeah, risk maps, risk control, yeah, extending to cyber risks and strategic risk, etc. Then you got F3, where you start looking at how to fund a business. Okay, looking at how to take the business to the next level. Here you look at sources of long-term finance, how to deal with mergers and acquisitions and the like. On completion of your final case study exam, which is a strategic case study, your academic part of your studies are done, and you now just need to complete your proof of practical experience to be awarded your CIMA CGMA designation. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So at the end of the session, we're going to do a quick poll, and then we can see if you think this was interesting and if you would want us to cut it from this presentation or not. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain to you 2 routes to get to your CGMA designation. Okay, so there is the PQ route, which is called the professional qualification route. It is also just the traditional route, if you like, and the new route. Oh, I see it written here. Your PQ route, and you've got your FLP route. With the PQ route, it's the old way of doing it. You study 1 subject at a time, and you have to work through 13 subjects. So BA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 subjects, all the BAs and the EPN ones. And you have to sit a competency exam or an OT exam or an objective test exam or a multiple choice exam. There are various words that describe it. I like to say it's a multiple choice exam, but they call it an objective test exam because the answer is objective. It's not subjective. So you write an OT exam for each of the blue and green and lighter green subjects. And you sit a case study exam for your operations case study, your management case study, and your strategic case study. On the PQ route, you can prepare for your exam any way you want to. It's flexible. You can do it at your own pace. You can use any study method. You can beg, steal, or borrow a book. You can come to classes. You can have a private tutor. You can come to IBTC's home study online. Anyway, you just show up to the exam. And when you're ready, you simply book your exam. On the PQ route, you can also buy 1 or 2 subjects at the same time. So a lot of students say, I want to start with E1 and P1 to begin with. And they study that, they pass it, they come back, they buy more. So it's a little bit pay as you go. Okay. On the FLP route, and I will explain it in a lot more detail so that you won't go away without knowing what FLP is. In FLP, for those who don't know and don't like multiple choice exams, taram. For FLP, you only have to do 3 exams. Can you believe that? You only have to do the case study exams. You don't have to sit any of the competency, any of the blue or green or other green exams. So how do you show your competencies on the BA or the EP or F subject? You prove your competency by working through the online material. And as you work through the online material, you will encounter questions. So it is continuous assessment. You study, there's a question to answer. Study, there's a question to answer. Study, more questions. Study, more questions. Once you've worked through all the material and you've answered all the questions, you will be deemed to have shown your competence in that subject. No exam. Okay. So on the FLP route, you cannot study on your own using textbooks and then just show up for the exam. You have to sign up onto the FLP platform through a tuition provider, and then you complete your OT competencies on that platform as I have described now. So where your questions and activities are interspersed with your study material, once you've shown your competency on the E, P, and F, then you can book for your exam, your case study exam. And on that platform, you also find material that helps prepare you for the exam. Okay. On the So what I said on PQ is you can buy a few subjects at a time. Okay. FLP, you pay for time. Okay, so this is how it works. It is on a subscription model. So the best way to explain it is you pay for access to all the study material across all the levels. So there's a platform, the FLP platform, and all this study material is on that platform. Okay, and you pay for time to access that platform. And when you are on that platform, boy, you start studying, reading, doing question practice, reading, doing question practice. You start completing your competencies for each of your subjects. When your time is up, you are kicked out. Okay. So as I said, it's a subscription model. You pay for access to all the study material across all the levels. You have to study as much as you can in the time you have bought. If you bought a 1-year subscription, you must be dedicated and try and race through as many subjects as possible. FLP is a big upfront cost because you buy everything at once. And with PQ, you can buy piecemeal if you like. Okay. On the PQ route, personally, I feel you get into more detail into each of the subjects. You learn more because it's probably because you're preparing for an exam. You're preparing for an OT exam. And because you know your subject content so well on EP and F, it's one can deduce that your case study exam should then technically be easier for you because your case study exam heavily relies on the underpinning knowledge. So you've got your case study and it draws on E2, P2, and F2. Okay, so if you know E2, P2, F2 very well, then your case study is going to be easier. With FLP, you don't write subject exams, so chances are you'll battle a little bit when it comes to your case study. You just don't have the same foundational knowledge, but it is a much faster route and much loved by many students. What is important to know whether you are on the PQ route, so you study one subject at a time, or whether you're on the FLP route, all of you sit the same case study exams. It all comes together at the case study exams. Okay, just want to see if there is a question on FLP so far. It doesn't look like that is an FLP question. Okay. Do you have any specific questions about FLP at the moment? I will watch the chat and just see while we're on the FLP topic. No? Which one is better for part-time studies? Both, any. It sometimes depends on you, but CIMA qualification has been designed for part-time studies. So it's never been designed as an academic qualification where they assume you're not working, you come to university all day. It has always been designed to say you're going to be in the working environment and you have to come and study in the evenings or over weekends. There is a fee for the objective test on the PQ route. So for each subject, you will pay 2 fees. That is maybe something very good to explain right now. I don't know if it comes up again, but let me just erase some of this. Sorry, I'm not the most efficient eraser. I'm sure there's a button that says clear the screen. Okay, so maybe what I can briefly explain now, right case study or is own. Whoa, oh, wait. Okay, let's start at the top. Which one is better? It doesn't matter, depend on your personal circumstances. If you have a bit more time, then and you can really make use of your year and you want to go fast, take FLP. If you want to get into it a little bit more, learn a bit more, you have to study, work, balance everything, then PQ is potentially better. We always love talking to you to find out about your circumstances, what you want out of it, and your approach to it, and we can suggest. Sometimes it comes down to finance, sometimes it comes down to availability, how much time you have able to study. How much is the subscription for the FLP platform? I'm going to show prices just now. What's the cost? So much, Richie, so much. Is there a fee for the objective test? Yes. Okay. So when you enter CIMA, you pay in year 1, you pay a registration fee, and every year after that, you pay a subscription fee. Okay, so subscription year 1, and then year 2 until infinity, you pay subscription fee. Then you pay IBTC for the course, to attend the course, and you pay CIMA to write the exam. Okay. Then you buy the next course from IBTC and you pay for the exam. You pay CIMA for the exam. Then you fail the exam and you pay for the exam again. So this is how you pay as you go, if you like. Okay. So for FLP, everything is packaged into one price. You pay to enter the portal and start studying as quickly as possible. When you've entered this portal, it reminds me a little bit of our storeroom at IBTC, where we keep, or stockroom, where we keep all your books. All the books are there for all the subjects, all the textbooks, all the practice revision kits, all the pass cards for every subject. Everything is there. And you walk into that room and you're buying time in that room. And on the table, you find a token for your registration fee. You find all your subscription fees for the amount of time. If you bought for 1 year, there's 1 subscription fee. If you bought for 2 years, there are 2 subscription fees. You also find 2 tokens for each of your exams. Okay, so there's 2 operation case study tokens, there's 2 management case study tokens, and there's 2 strategic case study tokens. So your question is there a fee for the objective test on the PQ route? Yes. Is there a fee for your case study exams on the FLP route? No, because it's all inclusive in one price. How many hours are required for one subject? Between probably 75 and 120-ish, but there's also a slide that I will get to where I can explain to you how to fit it into a week, and which gives you an idea of the subjects. I do want to say, if you are a university student or you think back about how many subjects you did in university, this is the type of qualification where you cannot do more than 2 subjects at once. It is a study 1 subject at a time. It's heavy and it's got a lot of content, and the exams are not necessarily easy. So you won't do 3 subjects in one go ever. Okay, other questions? What's the recommended years of subscription for FLP? We will get to that. Does IBTC have a physical graduation ceremony? No, we do not. CIMA will have a physical graduation ceremony. What's the best time? Timing, Ernest, we will discuss the best times to start and pay your subscription. How many chances do you get for each OT and each case study? Ask Yandre. As many as you have money. You can attempt the same exam. I don't know if there's a limit. 12 times, 200 times, as many times as you need. So hopefully with IBTC, it's only once. I'm more interested in the price. Fantastic. For both FLP and PQ, do you write a case study exam? Yes. Yes. I'm just going to repeat it, Hamna. For PQ, you write BA1, BA2, BA3, BA4, EPF, EPF, EPF. You write all those exams plus the 3 case study exams. On FLP, you only write 3 case study exams. Yeah, FLP, 3 case study exams, and PQ, 13 subject exams and 3 case study exams. Okay, and that's the exemption question. Is the length of the subscription sufficient while working? Okay, we're gonna discuss. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, we're going to let me see. Okay, I'm going to move on. Exemptions. Belisa, I've got no idea where I am. Where am I? I'm just gonna move on with exemptions. Oh wait, I wanted to ask you. What do you prefer, Belisa?
Yeah, I think, well, Nikki, yeah, what I like about FLP is that there are fewer exams, as you explained. It does look like you'll be qualified a lot faster. But what I like about the traditional route is that there's more rigor, like you said. You're doing this qualification because you want to pick up skills, to learn more and work better. So with PQ, I believe you'll learn more and your work performance will be much better. Yeah.
Yes, and at the end of the day, it's work performance that you are here for. You're trying to pick up skills so that when you go to a job, you can do great work. So with each route, the pressure points, hey, I think with FLP, the pressure point is at the case study exam because of the risk of not being familiar with the OT, as I said. And what do you think is the pressure point with PQ?
Yeah, with PQ, of course, the pressure points should be, I mean, obviously the case study will be a lot easier for you, but the pressure points are the objective test exams, which you have to pass first. Yeah.
So you have to choose, you have to do it all over again, and you have to choose right now, final decision. What would you do, PQ or FLP, knowing what you know now and where you are now? Same, children, work, money. What would you do?
Yeah, that's
I
right,
don't know.
Nikki.
What would you do?
Oh, it's a
PQ or
financial decision. It's time. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Great. We're going to look at exemptions.
yeah.
Okay, so this is usually where as people start typing and messaging. So I hope through all the messaging in the chat, you can still hear me. It's important to know that whether you choose PQ or FLP, you both start at the certificate level at the same space, unless you apply for exemptions. So I mentioned that the exemption processes have changed. Exemptions are now awarded based on 3 criteria. Okay, so there's 3 ways there are 3 ways you can get exemption. The one is because of a professional qualification or professional membership, if you like. So if you have membership with CICA, CIPA, ICB, or ACCA, you can apply for exemption. Okay. CICA, you will start at strategic case study level. If you're a CIPA, you will start here at E2, P2, F2. ICB, you will start over here. And with ACCA, you also start at E2. Okay, so that's exemption based on your professional qualification. Am I one slide? Yeah, I'm one slide too many. Based on your professional qualification. Okay, then you can get exemption based on your educational qualification. This is where you apply for exemption because you have a diploma or a degree or a BCom from UNISA or something like that. So to illustrate, if you have an ICB, you will start, again, you've got an ICB qualification, not the other one was ICB membership. ICB, you'll start with E1. If you have a BCom qualification, you will start at E1. If you've got an MBA, you will start at E1. If you have an MBA with finance, then you start at E2. If you have a BCom, as I said, you start at E1. But if you have a BCom with a name finance or accounting in there, you skip a whole level and then you start at E2. So BCom with finance or accounting in the name. If you've got a postgraduate diploma in accounting or finance, postgrad, also start at E2. Okay, so I can, yes, show it to you here. Okay, so just to show again, plain MBA, E1, MBA with finance, E2. Plain BCom, E1, BCom with finance or account. Oh, BCom finance honors. I didn't touch that on that one. As you actually start at management case study. So I just want to go back. So sometimes you start at E2, P2, F2, but sometimes you start at management case study. Now, remember what I said earlier, with the case study, it draws heavily on the E2, P2, and F2, on the underlying EP and F subjects. If you are exempted up to a case study, please talk to us. It's very important that you first do a couple of things to make sure that you are familiar, that there are no knowledge gaps with E2, P2, and F2. And there are a couple of things you need to do. Otherwise, that case study exam is going to be very tricky for you. And we just want to give you some guidance on that. Okay, so then I just want to go back to, okay, educational qualification, exemptions based on that. We've covered that. And now we're going to talk about experience and role. Exemption because of experience. I think in South Africa, it's called RPL, recognition of prior learning. Okay. So when it comes to recognition of prior learning, let's see. There are 3 ways to enter the qualification based on your prior learning. If you are in the audience and you have a PhD, then good for you. If you have a PhD in accounting or business and you've got more than 6 years teaching or research experience, usually those go hand in hand with PhDs, then you can do the elite academic program and you only have to do the strategic case study. Isn't that fantastic? The second way is called the CFO program, but you don't really have to be a CFO. You can either be a CFO or a CEO or a COO or an executive with more than 10 years experience in accounting, finance, and business. Then you can enter the CFO program and you only have to do strategic case study. Fantastic. And finally, the senior executive program, if you are a senior manager with more than 6 years experience in accounting, finance, and business, you are eligible for the senior executive program and you will start at management case study level. Now remember, anybody who gets exempted up to case study, first talk to us because we just want to tell you what the best approach is. There are other pathways for those of you who've been with CIMA for a while and you're wondering what happened to Master's Gateway and this and that. They technically no longer exist, but on rare occasions, the SA exemption team may consider you for an old pathway, but really on a case-by-case basis. That's
Yep.
exemptions.
I think, Nikki,
Yes.
just on a word of warning, I think if you've been exempted from a subject, I think CIMA assumes that you know your knowledge is good enough to have passed that particular subject, and that you understand the content in the way that CIMA has actually presented it. So before you accept all your exemptions, generally our advice is to go through the syllabus document and highlight areas that you don't feel comfortable with. If you feel that you're not comfortable with between 40 and 50% of the work, would actually suggest you don't take that those exemptions. Rather spend the time recapping those subjects. Also, for your case study exam, it requires a thorough knowledge of the E, the P, and the F subjects in that level, so whether operational, managerial, or strategic. So make sure that there are no knowledge gaps. We recommend that you recap these subjects before starting your case study exam preparation. Of course, we have courses specifically designed for students who are exempted based on experience and level. Here we include obviously the E, the P, and the F study material to help you obviously ensure that there are no gaps. So it is important to note that when you apply for exemptions, that the new website is a guide only. Ultimately, your exemptions have to be approved by the South African exemptions team. But I do find that generally about 95% of the time, the website will be correct.
Yes. Also, yeah, we are very good at guessing exemptions and working out exemptions and advising on that. But CIMA, we just want to remind you that CIMA is the official grantor of your exemptions, and we usually wait for the official documents from them before we make any big decisions on your starting point. I love, was it Tlotlo said, oh, do you charge for the advice if you're exempted from management case study? Not at all. We are very clear about our role in this ecosystem. We know so much about this. We've helped so many students. We've got such amazing lecturers. We will literally help anybody that comes our way, because our end goal is to have more professionally qualified management accountants in South Africa, because we believe it is good for the country, and we don't want to be snip with our help and our knowledge. So phone us anytime, attend these things. We'd love to help. Okay, so let's go here. So you're a new student and you want to register with CIMA. To register with CIMA, you first have to create a profile or a login on their new website. So your first job is to register an account on the CIMA Global website. Okay. And the next step would be to register as a new student. Sometimes students get confused. They think they've registered already, but all they did was open up a profile. This part to register as a new student is often quite tricky, because it's easy to make the incorrect selection. So previously what happened was you would register with CIMA and you would say, I have a BCom accounting, and I have a this, and I have a that, and I've got this much experience. And then they would ask you to submit all the documents. They would review it to see if it's correct, and then grant you the exemption. Now they literally take your word for it. So if you accidentally click the wrong thing, we've had it so many times, you've misunderstood the question, and you've accidentally said you've got 6 years teaching experience and that's why you got exemptions, and afterwards randomly CIMA would then audit it, and they'll say, show me your 6 years experience. You're like, no, I misunderstood the question. Then they will kick you off and say you got too many exemptions. So it's easy to make incorrect selection when you register with CIMA as a student, which may result in you starting on the wrong level, which might mean you could be disqualified from CIMA when they audit you. So if you're a new student, then please join our free, we're now assisting students, like I said earlier. It's called CIMA Assist. It's free. You can mail us and you can say, I want to register with CIMA. Here are all my documents. Can you help me? We go on Teams, we screen share, and we say, no, don't press that button, no, do this, no, do that. And so we help you to register as a CIMA student. So that service is there. If you are not new to CIMA, then you will know that previously you could just pay for your registration fee, but something that has changed now is when you register with CIMA as a student and you pay your registration fee, you are automatically also charged a fee for your first subject, which is usually E1 or BA1. This is really to encourage you to sit your exam and just get on with it. That exam token is also valid for 1 year. It used to be valid for 2 years, but now that exam token is valid for 1 year. So it's really just study, write the exam. You often don't feel ready, get the right help, and just get on with it.
Nikki, that's a lot to remember and sounds very complicated.
I know, it's so complicated. I think it's why we exist, is so that we can help students just register with CIMA in the correct way and help them with their exemptions and then pass the exam. So CIMA Assist, it's info@ibtc.co.za. You can mail us. Let me type that out. info@ibtc.co.za. Info@ibtc.co.za. And you can just say, I need some assistance. CIMA, assist me. And then we go. Okay. Ways to study with IBTC, how to prepare for your exam, whether you are doing the PQ or the FLP route. Okay. We have virtual classes and let's start over. If you are doing the PQ route, you are doing 1 or 2 subjects at a time, you want to write in November or you want to write your second subject in February, you will either sign up for our virtual classes, which start in June, July, and take you right up to October, I think September, October, and September probably, right? The exam November. We've got virtual classes, which is the same as classes, which is what you're doing now. You're now in a virtual class with Pelisa, and he's lecturing you in the evenings, one night a week. On top of the lecture you will get one night a week, you also get access to our study hub, where you find more lecture videos from our partner BPP, and their best lecturers are doing the same lecture. So you can watch two lecturers give the same topic. They've also got progress tests and mock exams and a lot of things to practice and videos. So you've got all the resources, not too much. We'd like to give you the right amount of resources to prepare you for your exam. Okay. Or you can do an online course. And an online course is where you get access to the same resources, and you are in a little cohort. So there's a start date, and it could be 3 people from India, 2 from Australia, a few from the UK. And the tutor comes and says, great, this is my group, and I must now get them to pass. And the tutor won't lecture you. The tutor will say, watch that video, read that, do that progress test, send it to me by Sunday. Next week, watch that video, do that chapter, send it to me on Sunday. Yes, you can ask me questions. Oh, I see you perform poorly in that test. Let me send you a different video. But I am going to chase you to finish while you are studying online. Okay, then Home Study Plus. Sounds like an election study option, Home Study Plus. What happened was we used to have a home study course where we would send you your study material, have tutor access, phone you every now and again, send you mock exams. You would basically study offline. And then we thought, shame, but we've got those BPP video lectures. Why can't we just give them to you and give you access to the video lectures and access to some online mock exams so you can practice how to do an online exam? So that then was born Home Study Plus. So it's everything home study. You get your study material at home, nice books to highlight and underline, and you also get access to video lectures. It's like sitting in a class in London in the first row. So that is also a really cost-effective option. Which method is better? It largely depends on you. I could do home study probably even without the videos. I'm just very diligent person and I bog down and other people are distraction. Virtual classes, it's the people who often are high performing, they're busy, and then, oh, tonight there's a class. I better open my book. I better attend. Okay. And then online courses somewhere in between, high performing, highly diligent people. Maybe you want to do it a little bit faster. Okay. What else okay, that's PQ. And here are our prices for PQ. So our objective test virtual classes are around 6.5, and our case study classes are about 8,000. Online courses slightly more affordable, and Home Study Plus the most affordable option. Great. Okay, this will answer some questions, guys. It's not long to go anymore. But this will answer some questions which was around how long is a subject, how much I studied, how many hours, this, that, and the other. Okay. So in this example, the student has taken one subject. They've got E1, and in this example, they are attending E1 on a Saturday, but it could be a Monday or a Wednesday, but they're attending a 2.5-hour class on a Saturday. So I always say never walk into a class cold. When students still came to our campuses, I would say, if you're sitting down in that parking garage and you're paging through that book to see what tonight's lecture is going to be about, then at least you're not walking in cold. But ideally, you should spend the study session before your class just going through the first 3 chapters before you come to your first class. Then you walk into that class and you can start engaging, and you can make notes, and you can understand and retain so much more. And then you go back and then you go spend a whole study session on summarizing and learning and understand. Now you start studying. I always say to people when I send them their study material, I say the worst thing you can do with a CIMA qualification when you receive your books is to open them and start studying. This is a different qualification. It's not about what you can remember. It is about the tools you're going to put in your tool belt. It is about reading through the book and thinking, wow, this is interesting. Oh, this is about project management. Yeah, I had that we did that project last year. Oh, this is about this and that. And you're like, yes, this is like it all happened at my office. So it's about relating what's in the book to application, to real life and how you're going to apply it in your job. So we always say a prep session, come to a class or watch a video, and then go and summarize and study. And you follow this method. You follow it for about 10 to 12 weeks. This is about 7.5 hours a week. And after 12 weeks, you spend about 90 hours, which is probably sufficient for E1. Now, now you've decided, okay, I've got some extra spare time and I want to do P1 at the same time. Now, P1 isn't necessarily harder. It's easier for me because I love it. Some people who love F1 hate E1. So it's not that you need more time because it's harder. You might need more time because the book is fatter. It's just more work to get through. Okay, so you come to class on a Saturday. This is your prep session. Here you come to class, and here's the extra 2 hours you're putting in every week. Okay. And that brings you to about 114 hours. And this will illustrate for about 3 months what your life will look like. Oh, I see we're doing nothing on a Friday. Isn't that fantastic? You even have a designated day off. Okay. So this, I hope this gives you an idea of how heavy the subjects are and why you shouldn't take more than 2 subjects at a time. If you do an online course, the courses are quite quick. You can do 1 subject at a time. Do the online course, sit and pass. Do the next one, sit and pass. Do the next one, sit and pass. Okay, so this model is typical for if you're going to attend classes and you attend 2 classes in a semester. Okay. Belisa, case study. You're a case study expert. Tell me, how do you prepare us for our case study exams?
Yep. So if we take a look at how you will prepare for your case study exam, remember we said it doesn't matter whether you're doing the traditional route, which we call PQ, or the finance leadership program, which we call FLP. Both routes come together at the case study level. In other words, you write the exact same case study. So our best advice is to always try and attend the case study exam preparation classes, which we offer at IBTC. We have an almost 100 pass rate, and we only need 4 days to get you ready for your exam. Obviously, that 4 days is spread over a couple of weekends, which we can talk about it. So here's how you do it. We recommend about 100 hours to prepare for your case study exam. Obviously, that depends on the level. You know, when was the last time you passed an exam? And it does vary slightly, but roughly around 100 hours. This is obviously dependent on how familiar you are with the underlying E and the P and the F subjects. The most important thing to note that is that the case study draws heavily on those pillars. So the E pillar, the P pillar, and the F pillar. But say you've completed the E and the P and the F exams in the last, let's say, 12 to about 18 months, so the information is still relatively fresh. It'll come back quite quickly. Then you'll typically don't need more than 100 hours to prepare for your case study exam. So if we break it down by weeks, let's look at just week 1 and week 2. Here you'll want to revise the E and the P, F subjects, ensuring that there aren't any knowledge gaps. So you read through the pre-scene material in quite a bit of detail in preparation really for your first class. In week 3 and week 5, you'll spend 2 weekends on our exam prep classes. Here we analyze the case study line by line. We make notes, underlining in the margins. We refer to the models like the SWOT model and the Pastel model or the Mendelow's metrics, which are models drawn from your E pillar. And we'll do some mock exams with personalized feedback. And then in week 4 and week 6, you'll spend 2 weekends on question practice. filling in any knowledge gaps that were exposed in class or during the mock exams, and eventually doing what we call the final mock exam where you're timed. And that's really how we do it, Nikki.
Cool, cool. So this is really your IBTC classes, a Saturday, Sunday, and a Saturday, Sunday, and why we say we need 4 days to prepare you for your case study exam. I always say your job is to know your EPF very, very, very well, and then you come to class. Because if you come to class and you know your EPF very well, then I say, here, Pelisa, here's a student for you. You do the rest. The rest is on us. We then take you and show you how to apply that information in your exam. And then I always feel like after this first set of classes, students are a little bit despondent. Like we break you down. You're like, oh, I didn't know how much I didn't know. And then in week 4, you go and fill those gaps. You go and study Saturday and Sunday. And you say, oh, I must, I've realized all my gaps. And you come back in this week and we put you together again, and now I know how to frame my answers, how to not write too much, how to what the formula is to answer, how to please the examiner. And then this last week you just spent for a little bit of more mock exam practice, if you like. Okay, so next we're going to look at how to study FLP. Okay, so FLP, as we said, you buy time. So there are 3 ways to buy time. If you are buying time, you can buy 1, 2, or 3 year subscription onto the FLP platform. So you can buy a standard subscription, or you can buy 1, 2, or 3 year a premium subscription, or a 1, 2, and 3 year a premium plus subscription. I'll explain how these came about. Okay, so let's just explain everything on the basis of the standard prescription. So as I said, you buy access or time to the CIMA FLP platform. This cost includes a registration and the subscription fee. If it's a 3 year subscription, you'll have 2 subscription fee tokens. If it's a 2 year, you've got everything is covered, all your registration and subscription fees. You have all the online tuition material is there. All your question practice is there. All your case study exam preps and mocks is there. Everything you need to prepare for the exam is there. You also have IBTCs. You can ask the tutor. You can join our our Tuesday and Thursday speak to us sessions. There's always a tutor there. We are here to help you. And also there are 6 exam tokens, 2 for each level. That's the standard FLP, the most affordable one. Then a lot of our students said, but we like coming to your exam prep classes. And I feel that on FLP, I really, really need that. So we've created FLP Premium, where we essentially added 6 tokens for you. It's 2 opportunities to attend an operation case study course, 2 opportunities to attend our management case study exam prep course, and 2 opportunities to attend our strategic case study course. Strategic case study exam prep course. Okay, great. Then some students said, okay, I like that, but I also I did EP and F on that study practice, study to question practice model. I didn't write OD. So don't you have some videos for me that just take me through my EP and F? So we said, okay, we can add that as well. So we've got pillar revision videos, a little bit of video content. So we've added the video content, and then FLP Premium Plus was born. Okay, so the standard one, everything you need. Premium, everything you need, plus IBTC case study classes. Premium Plus, everything you need, plus the classes, plus EP and F lecture videos. Great. Probably going to go to pricing next, so hold on to your horses. So here we go. A 1 year subscription, 2 year subscription, or 3 year subscription on each of these packages. Okay, so the price seems high. I know it is a lot of money, but I'll also explain to you how you can get through, what was it, Vanessa? 2 levels a year. Maybe you buy a 2 year subscription. Maybe you can go through 3 levels. So now you have to compare it to adding up, where's my image? Adding up, paying, maybe you start right at the bottom, paying course fee and exam fee, 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 course fee and exam fee. If you add all of this up, what would it have cost you? Okay, so it's your decision, but it looks expensive, but it's still a lot of money. It's still a lot of money. Okay, so I want to show you, I think this is it. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to try and do this. Ah, Vanessa, you have to be on standby to help me. I want to show you why you can do 2 levels a year. Okay, so where are we now? We are in May. The May exam just ended. Now is a fantastic time to start up with FLP. So why I say that is I'm going to try and explain it over here. If you buy a 1 or a 2-year subscription, I never want your subscription to end and you say, well, I'm here now, but actually it's April. I started in the beginning of May. I started 1 May and it ends 30 April. Now it's 30 April, but the case study I want to write is just there. It's 2 weeks later. I'm like, sorry, you're kicked out. So I never wanted your subscription to end just before a case study exam. So that means an ideal time to start is just after a case study exam. So when you come around on your full year or your full 2-year, it always ends with a final case study opportunity. Okay, so I hope you followed that. So Vanessa, how would this work? I am now in May, June, July, August. June, July, August, you could do an June, July, August, June, July. If you can do E1, P1, F1 and try and set your case study by August. It's fantastic. If you can do it, great. It's not necessarily possible for everybody. So I'm saying, why don't you do E1, P1, F1, and then you do your operations case study here in November. So you do your operations case study. Then I would take off November and I will do E2, P2, F2, and I will set my management case study in May. And that is 1 year, 2 levels in 1 year, And what I did was I took it really slow. Okay. Would you agree with me? In the one model, I quickly raced and I wanted to write my operations case study in August and my management case study in November and my strategic case study in February. And I even have 1 exam opportunity left to rewrite something. So you literally can do the whole thing in a year if you want to. So a lot of students buy 2-year subscription with the idea to complete their full qualification in 2 years. Okay, so it's that 2-year price, 2-year price. This one is probably my favorite, that you have to compare to doing everything. This is the cost you'll compare it to. But I don't need to teach you because you're accountants. You can work out the cost benefit of each method. Okay, so any questions on this timing? Somebody said, when does registration close? Registration is not open. Okay, so if you're planning to attend classes, somebody can just help me exactly when the classes start. They're often early in July. So you would try to somewhere in June sign up for classes which then start sometime in July. So that would be a cutoff date, but sometimes our classes have just started, or there's a first classes tonight and somebody's literally signing up right now, but you don't want to leave it too late. But there isn't a hard cutoff. Obviously, at some point, if we're like 4 classes in, we'll say, I don't think it's worth it anymore. But roughly June is a good time to sign up for classes. And if you want to do FLP, then now end of May, and then after end of May, it would be end of August would be a fantastic time to sign up. So what you could do now, if you feel it's too fast now for end of May, you could sign up now in June, July for FLP, because then we get all your paperwork ready, we got everything, your exemptions, we sort out everything for a start in August. Okay, so it's a good thing to sort out everything now. Don't delay because you think I'm only going to start in August. Either rush now to enter or rush now to start in August. Does that answer your question about when the second semester starts? Registration is open now. Classes start on 22 July. Dylan, I see you said you're a matric student. Won't you just message us tomorrow and just want to find out more about where you are, if you recently matriculated, are you matriculating this year? We are specifically looking for matriculants for one of our programs. Okay, so let me see, where am I at the moment? We have done this. The ideal start date is the month following a case study. Okay, great. How are we going to pay for all of this, Pelisa?
Yeah, so Nikki, I think if we look at some of the financing options for you, if you're on a PQ, you'll buy 1 or 2 subjects at a time, and these range from roughly 4,000 to 8,000 rands, as you've seen earlier, obviously depending on the subject and the study method that you choose. Here you can use IBTC's payment plan to pay for your studies, which is interest-free, and you pay a small deposit, and the rest you can put on a debit order for about 4 months. Unfortunately, this is not available on the FLP side. If you are focusing on FLP, obviously the cost is substantially more expensive. But ranges between 62,500 to around 160,000. But remember that you can get through the full qualification in 2 years, so that's a caveat in it. So to pay for your FLP studies, you can take out a loan, a study loan with our loan partner, which is called Student Hero, where you can pay over a longer period than you normally do with us on the OT side, which also reduces the monthly installments. They tend to use an easy desktop application, which is, with some really quick turnaround time. Yeah.
Awesome. So Student Hero, you can, if you do PQ or you do FLP, you just want to do 2 subjects, they would be the people that you approach for that. Then I always think, oh, when the open day is over, is it just over Skadovas? Where do you go? So we have a lovely resources page where we've put some of these videos, what we would be talking about now. If you want to know more about exemptions, we cut out the exemption piece. You can just watch that. Or if you want to know more about what was that salary again, Belisa promised me, you can go look at that portion. If you want to look and see what our online course looks like, there's a walkthrough on that. There's a lovely video about, oh, I can't remember, winning at case study. So it gives you a little bit more insight into case study. So go and spend some time on that page of ours. And then you will see a lot of our students talk about how we constantly motivate them. I say irritate, but it's not true. We motivate you. They talk about our support. A lot of them say, I would not have passed that exam if it wasn't for IBTC. I'd like to thank IBTC support team. Overcome with gratitude. Fantastic turnaround on emails. I always say, you guys are responsible for your academic performance, and you can only do that if we have good operational performance. So we need to support you in any way we can. And I think this is my last slide. So I should have a how to book. No, I am right at the end. Okay, so I wanted to just very quickly show you this page. Hang on. Hang on. This is my last slide, guys. you'll pass our promise. Okay, so if you wanted to come to sessions on it's like having coffee with me and Belisa, with Vanessa, or with some of the lecturers, or you can come to, it's called Speak to Us. It's a free session. Just join, listen in. You go to support, you go to Speak to Us, and you join straight from here. Okay, you go here. If you wanted a quote, you'll go to course, CIMA, management level, and we drop you in here and you say, I'm at management. Oops, no, sorry, I'm at ops level. And I don't want to do that elite pathway. I don't want to worry about my case studies right now. And I only want to do virtual classes. Or just give me a price. Yeah, actually add my operations case study back in. Ooh, I can see this is what I'm in for. I can go and check them out and add them to my cart. Okay, then when you're in the cart, it's quite a you either pay with your credit card, or you send yourself an invoice, or you send yourself a pro forma, or you speak to your manager and ask if your company can pay, or you phone us, or we can help you with this. But this is really how you go and get a little bit of a quote for yourself to see how you're doing. Somebody else said, Ligugu said, just to confirm, the fees displayed are purely support fees and do not include the cost due to CIMA. Okay, so if I can go to my previous slide, it depends on which fees you're talking about. So I just want to go here. This is support plus all your CIMA fees. This is a all-inclusive fee. Okay, all-inclusive fee. Ah, can't write when you are watching. Okay, great. If I look at these fees are just for IBTC support. This is to attend our classes or attend our courses, if you like. Okay, so that answers that question. I'm going to go. Any questions that I have missed or you want to repost? Yes?
I have. Hi, Nikki. Sorry, I just pulled. There was one question that came out, and I can't find the other one. Two, I said I'd deal with in the Q&A. One is, why would you recommend writing at a test center as opposed to online proctored exam from home or office?
Why would I recommend? For various and assorted reasons. The one is I have a setup there that has been tried and tested and tried and tested and tried and tested, and I have support people there, and I just have to show up, and it's a little bit stress-free. I don't have to worry about the things I can control, and I know everything else is sorted. Personally, if I think I now have to worry about my dog barking and somebody walking in, or me doing something weird, or I can't go to the bathroom, which you can't do when you're at home, and that probably makes me a little bit more nervous, because now I'm responsible for my own exam performance, and I'm responsible for my milieu, for my setup. What are your thoughts, Sharissa? Do you have a preference?
Absolutely, I would definitely agree with you there. There's enough stress on exam day to perform in the exam and have your timing right and manage yourself through the exam. You don't also need to worry about being your own invigilator. So there are one or two people who have been comfortable and it's all worked fine, but we have a lot of horror stories where ESCOM, load shedding, a dog's barked, somebody's phone has rung, and their exam has been disqualified. So the concern that I always have with those online proctored exams is that the restrictions and requirements are a lot stricter because you are doing it yourself than if you did it in an exam center. So you can raise your hand, you can mumble to yourself in an exam center. You cannot even mumble or talk to yourself during your own exam. So we have this,
or look like you're talking to yourself,
or even look like you're talking to yourself, because they think that there's somebody on the other side of the door or behind a drywall who's telling you the answers. So there's somebody watching your face the whole time, and they're listening in on you, and they will stop your exam, or they will disqualify you quite easily if you can't explain yourself, or so rather just don't have that stress. If enough other things to worry about, go to a trusted exam center. There are plenty of them, ourselves obviously included, and and just
If you don't have another option and
Yeah.
we've now totally scared you, then just make sure, again, you talk to us. You can phone us and you can say, just talk me through the requirements. And then in our experience, we can then say, make sure you've read this, make sure you've tested that, make sure you know you can't go to the boss. These are all the horror
Yeah.
stories. And then a lot of students do it very successfully from home. And we would just like you to be as prepared as you can be.
Yes. There was another question, which was, what do we recommend for somebody who's working part-time? Do we recommend the FLP route or the PQ route? And I just wanted to say that I said in the chat, I said there's pros and cons to both routes, which we have spoken about quite a bit in the session. And it really just depends on your own personal circumstances. It depends on what your level of commitment is. You know, if you're doing the PQ route, you only have to commit for 12 weeks at a time. So, you know, if work does get stressful, you know, you only have 12 weeks to just finish your one paper, and then you can, you know, you can have a break and then you can take up your next subject. Whereas when you're on the FLP program, you need to make the most of your FLP subscription. You need to stay committed for the whole of your subscription period. There's very little downtime if you're trying to make the most of it, it being such an expensive route to start off with. So that would be my 2 cents on which route is better for you. It's just, you just need to consider your personal circumstances before you choose either. We have another question. Is BA1 12 weeks and the same for the following BA2?